Welcome to People in the Boxes.
All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to People in the Boxes. It's episode 99. 99. I said it earlier, we're going to party like it's episode 99 tonight. So I knew I was going to get you with that one. Yes, that's funny. We got Kim here with us. We got Kim holding it down. Jason's having some problems with his internet, so we're not sure if he's going to be able to make it very much. We'll hold out hope. Hopefully, he can stop in. Guys, it is awesome. It's at 8 o'clock Central Time. Kim, 8 o'clock Central Time on Thursday night. People in the Boxes. It is the show that I thought needed to be made. Really, it wasn't. It's not really about me, although I am the one trying to orchestrate it. This show is about us trying to share our experiences on common topics. Now we get off into the weeds, we get into opinions and all that and stuff, but you cannot argue with my experience on topics. And so tonight, that's no different. Tonight's topic is pretty near and dear to me, and I think a lot of us have probably had a situation or two like this where you had to speak in public. Now, you could say that we're speaking in public right now. I mean, there's 30 people hanging out right now. It's not the same. It is difficult. So I think we can speak to that too, Kim. What it takes to get up on the screen and talk to a bunch of people. It's different, but I don't think it's the same. It's not as difficult, I think, is getting up on a podium on a stage and talking to, an auditorium full of people. Or even on a smaller scale, if you had to talk up in front of like at a venue or something, whatever it is. So we're gonna get into it. I have a few stories myself. I'm sure that Kim might have a few as well. And we got Kim with us, Kim Axtell with the Legit Bean Review Remastered. Go find it. Go join the group. Check it out. What's up, Kim? How are you?
I'm good. Been
Doing
a
good.
crazy busy week.
Yeah. Well, you're. It's almost like you're busier now that you're not in school, right?
Well, we just I know a lot of people. New Mexico, the state I live in, is a very rural state, and I know a lot of people. I have dabble in all kinds of stuff, so I know people all over the state. I know people at all walks of life, and we had two big fires that converged on a community that's not very far from where I live.
Oh.
And it's pretty devastating. So anyway, it's Ruidoso. They have a big horse racetrack there. So the fire started out 200 acres. The winds kicked up and it went from 200 acres to like 1,200 acres in a matter of less than an hour. And they gave an emergency evacuation order about 7 o'clock Monday night to get the hell out right now. Don't grab anything, get out, because the fire was starting to consume parts of Ruidoso and they expected it to go into blah, 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 blah. So anyway.
Well, I mean, I hope everybody's okay. It sounds like, fires can be pretty deadly when they get that big, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They've already had 2 confirmed dead that they found. They don't know how many missing they have because there's a lot of places. It's mountainous. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, but it's in the mountains. There's a ski resort up there. So you have a lot of people that live in the outlying areas. You have all these tiny little like ghost town kind of communities up there where people live very rurally, and they have no idea what they're looking at as far as missing and dead. Wow. A lot of people are unaccounted for. People scattered. There was only one way out. The other ways were shut off. The community was basically surrounded by fire. And so my part in it was I know a lot of people, so I'm a connector. So we worked on getting the horses out. There's a big horse racing venue there, Ruidoso Downs. So we had to work at getting 1,200 thoroughbreds out of there. And it was insane, the videos seeing all those horse trailers, just these humongous horse trailers that trailer 20, 30 horses, whatever,
Wow.
just lined up, trailering horses out. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of coordination stuff, coordinating donations. Animal rescues came in from all over the state, pulling animals out.
At least they
it
were
was,
allowed to do this.
yeah,
Well, that gets us into a different conversation. So
yeah.
that is tragic, though. Hopefully they save as many as possible. Of course, prayers, yeah, Donna. Sure.
Yeah, well, the big fear right now is the fire is not out. It's not contained. There's zero containment. But we got hit. We're getting hit with these storms that are coming up out of Mexico. And they had hail hit up in that area that was bigger than baseball size, I guess like orange size, whatever, big hail and rain coming down. And so then it turned into massive flooding because there's like burn scars all over the place from fires the last few years up there and whatnot. So it's been a mess. It's a mess. Nobody's allowed in. There's still 0% containment with either one of the fires. It's made national news. It was in the New York Times. Crazy seeing your state in the media for that kind of stuff, you know. Usually you see California or I don't know, maybe Texas, these bigger states that have really big fire dangers. But that's what I've been working on Monday and Tuesday. It's been crazy, but a lot of people are in okay condition. The states coming together. New Mexico is we pull together, you know. It's a rural state, lots of farmers, the Mexican population here is very warm and caring kind of people, very just amazing people. So and then we've got large Native American populations, so everybody's just really pulling together and trying to make sure everybody's okay. I mean, I got super emotional. I'm not one to cry. I can't remember the last time I cried, but I was just like pretty teary-eyed for a couple of days there. So it's been crazy.
Well, I'm glad you're able to do something about it. You're able to help somehow, right? So,
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, let's try to lighten the mood a little bit. But yeah, I'm glad that you're a little bit out of that now. Calm me down. What's on the agenda? So Leaf Cycle, good question. We are going to be discussing like confidence in speaking and sort of public speaking. They're a little bit different, but very similar topics where we, you guys know people in the boxes. We want to share what we've experienced. So I've got a couple of stories lined up for myself. I talked about the story before where I tried to do stand-up comedy for the talent show at grade school. Yeah, I'll tell that one again. It was a terrible experience. Like, a total bomb, right? And so, a lot of people would be really scared about speech in front of people, speaking publicly or in front of crowds. It's a real fear, and it can be a real skill to hone or to practice better at. And then, of course, like I said earlier, we've got the differences between speaking like I am to you guys, about 33 people right now, and speaking to everybody in person if you were all standing right here, and in the military, which Kim and I are both from, that I guess you kind of get thrown into that sometimes because they put you, at least through training, they put you into leadership roles. They sort of kind of give you these situations where you're forced to act and be the leader. And so that can be one way to sort of get you out of your comfort zone and just doing it. Now, I always think of the funny, the whole trope where the old advice. I don't know if you guys remember the old advice. Picture them in their underwear. Yeah, like they're out there, they're in the crowd. Hey, just imagine that they're naked and they're just in their underwear out there. Like, does anybody really do that? I don't know. So like Leaf Cycle says, he's still awkward in person. But yeah, that's something that you have to. Not everyone can get over, because there is like I said, there is an actual phobia, like clinical type of fear. But for the most part, people can get over it. It's just like it's an uncomfortable thing. Did you ever take? Well, you probably had to take speech class in college. I had to take a speech class in college. Some of us took speech class in high school, where they have you write a speech or perform it. Uh, recite the speech. I guess it would be the right word, in front of the class and all that. What's up, Terry? What's up, Elisa May? Elisa May, and anybody out there, guys, if you want to come up, come on up. I'm putting that link out there. Let's get this let's get the party started. I mean, Kim and I can talk all day. We both have our own individual shows where we talk the entire time. We want to hear from you guys. We want to see what you guys have to say about this. I That's why I bring it back to my 5th grade year, trying to be a stand-up comedian with no practice, no preparation, and I had no material. It was not a good. It was not. It didn't turn out well for me, guys. We can hear those stories all day. We all have some of those stories. I don't know. In fact, do any of us have a story where we're like, yeah, I really nailed the speech and I was in front of the board, or like a pitch, when you have to do a pitch, like a business pitch. Those are that's even more nerve wracking, because there's all this 3D chess going on there. You're hoping to create a monetary relationship, and it's like, hey, I got this thing that's going to be of value to you, and you just have to give me some money. And that can be pretty nerve wracking versus just a speech where you're trying to just move people and give them some kind of information, or make them emotional in some way, right? Ryan Williams, what's up, man? You want to come up? Come on up and hang out if you want, or blow glass, whatever you want to do, man. Come on up. People in the boxes is for everybody. We got 10 boxes. For some reason, nobody wants to get in the boxes anymore, and the show's gotten bigger. We've gotten a larger, more robust, more juicy audience. The audience is juicier now, and you guys are awesome. I think the show is going to just keep going. I'm not going to stop, even if I'm by myself. Kim, if you end up like, your internet goes down and you just can't come on the show will go on. I'm still going to come up. I'll ramble on for a while, maybe in a bit. Okay, please, no worries. Donna says, myself and my son have been in the hospital for 17 days now. Home was condemned. We were homeless. Time we came to the hospital, had pneumonia. Oh my gosh, Donna. Many prayers, Donna, for sure. Sounds like you've got a lot going on. Gypsies, tramps, and thieves. I'm not sure where that comes from there, Leaf Cycle, but is that what you're calling me? Come on. No. Oh, it's a song. Gotcha. Don't stone me. Well, how about I get stoned with you, and Jason doesn't get to see the new rig, but I'm going to do me a nice e-nail heat up. Super smooth and easy. It takes about, I don't know, about a minute and a half to get to the right temperature. It's not bad at all. Imagining the time that I take sitting here with a torch, like definitely not any different really on the time. We're going to do a little dabaroo on this relaxed episode tonight. Cheers, Chance. Cheers, brother. Got what do we got here, Chance? From this Magic Cherry Tropicana. Magic Cherry Tropicana. It's sativa. I'm a sativa fan. Tonight I have a couple things. I have some live sugar. It's called Treats. And I found some that has CBGA. I did find some that has CBD as well. This other one must be the one. Let's see. CBDA. I don't know what the A, they have that A to everything because it's not heated up yet. There's CBGA and CBDA in this other one called Candy Store. And those CBDs, man, you got to find, when you look for concentrates, try to find some that have a little bit of CBD in it. Not at all sure how to make it that way with some CBD. I guess you could add You add CBD. That's how you would do it, right, Kim? You would just take a concentrate, maybe it's already made, and you add a little CBD distillate into that concentrate. And then, we could actually talk about the cannabis angle as well when it comes to public speaking. Some people get that really paranoid, like when they smoke, they use cannabis in any way, they cannot go to public. They can't go like talking to people at a store or whatever. Like, let me know, guys, in the comments. Are you someone who is able to get be medicated and go, not drive, but be at the store, go buy something, go, without being too weirded out?
I don't get weirded out. Like, I don't know. I get stupid when I smoke. Like, I don't know. I
At least
can't talk.
I said earlier, Jason is not. We're not sure if he's going to be making it or not. He has some internet problems or something. It's electricity and internet, or I forget how many problems, but there are some things going on, and he may not make it tonight. So maybe he wasn't confident to speak tonight. Is that it? Kidding, Jason. 18 awesome people in the house. Hit that like button, you guys, and you'll get on a wheel. Last week, Billy Barton won the game night ticket, and he ended up winning 2 prizes on game night. So it's worth it. My nose is itching. Who's talking about me right now? Kaja's here. Kaja, come on up. We need more friends and family up on the screen to discuss. Let's see. We're sitting at 659. Oh, that's too high. I don't want that high. I don't know why it shoots up there. I just want it to be like about 610.
How do you know what the temperature is? Is there a gauge or what?
It's a digital readout.
Is it electric or?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. That baby's piping hot, 600 degrees.
Does it have a heating element or?
It's heating a coil that's clamped around a terp slurper.
Oh.
What's happening? So, Kim, can you remember the first time you ever had to speak? I mean, as a teacher, obviously, you have more adult, like recent experience to draw from. But did you ever, as a kid, try, have trouble speaking? You probably took a speech class in college, right? I had to.
I took
Gen Ed.
multiple.
Right.
I took multiple. Yeah, because I was a pre-law major, so like I had to take a lot of communications and public speaking classes.
Military probably helped you too, like I said with mine. No, you didn't have to be.
My first experience of public speaking that I can remember was probably when I was in 7th grade, and we had to memorize and recite.
Yeah, that's right, Diane.
The Gettysburg Address, and I had part of it memorized, and it was really embarrassing because I only had part of it memorized.
That's one thing where it's like something that you expect yourself to know.
Yeah. So I'm, from that experience, like I don't mind getting up in front of people and talking, but I don't like getting up in front of people and talking unless, if I don't know anything about the topic, then I won't talk a whole lot. I don't want to get up and talk.
Well, what made you decide to do a live show? Because that, I know a lot of people have, like, there's an anxiety about pushing that button, go live. That just like everything right up to that, where they're just like sitting there, like just hitting the button. It's like anxiety.
Going live doesn't bother me because I had to teach through the pandemic.
Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Kim.
And so I had already basically gone live, and it was kind of a weird experience because most of the time the kids that did show up, you couldn't see a picture. So you were just sitting there talking to these black screens, and you didn't know what the heck was going on behind those black screens. Right. So, you just had to, as a teacher, one of the things about being a teacher is that you have to be good at filling dead space, because you can be up there teaching and you can have this really great lesson plan and great topic, and you can just have students that just bad days where kids don't want to talk, or they're in a different world or whatever, and there's just not a lot of interaction going on. So you have to be really adept at filling that dead space and asking a lot of questions and really kind of digging to get kids to interact with you. And that's pretty much
about it. Yeah.
Huh?
Like being creative about it. So
yeah. So, just keeping on poking to get a reaction kind of a thing is a lot what goes with,
Billy,
being in front of a class teaching. So,
what I've had to learn, and I want a big shout out to Tim Brown over on X. I would have invited him, but he's a busy guy. But he does a confidence speaking space on Saturdays. They have different topics that have to do with confidence speaking. I am just talking tonight about, bringing up our experiences and talking about, having a laugh about times when we bombed or, but he does do a space on Saturdays where he brings people together from all over the world. It would have been nice to have him on, but.
So when I was a kid growing up, so my mom was Italian, and I wasn't raised within the Italian culture, so I only know Italian culture from what I've heard from other people about how Italians are. But one of the things that my mom, we debated a lot in our family, and I don't mean like arguing. We did that, but we debated. Like every Sunday, we would sit around and we would read the newspaper. Me and my mom and my stepdad, we would sit around and we would read the newspaper, and my mom would start debates over stuff, whatever it is that we were reading in the paper about.
I wish I could have done that with my daughter. Man.
Yeah. And
all I wanted to do was like get her to use her own brain, like try to test her to see, not test her really, but like just to ask her questions and see what she thinks about something versus, well, this is what's happening. You got to think this way. But the problem is she had a lot of adults around her telling her this is the way it is or whatever, instead of saying, what do you think about these things? And anyway,
yeah. My dad, and so, and there were times, like when we would sit at the dinner table to eat, we would talk about topics or whatever. I just grew up in a family that was always forward thinking about stuff, and just willing to talk about stuff. I have a very, a family that's just proactive about a lot of things, a lot of lawyers and politicians and professors and
executives
and all that shit.
Business executives. They all live. How's it go? And they're all made out of ticky tacky, and they all look just the same.
Okay.
Little boxes on the hillside. Little boxes made of ticky tacky. You don't know that song? Oh, everyone in the audience that knows the song is going to just be singing it now.
What the heck song is that?
If
that
you've never seen that,
Death Punch deconstructed or what?
No, it's not. No, none of your crazy Satanist death metal that you love. But it is a song that was from the intro on Weeds. Chuck Rock in the house. Chuck, come on up, man.
Yeah, so
don't be shy out there. Don't be unconfident to speak out there, guys. Come on up. Anybody out there who's been on?
Encouraged a lot by my mom, because the way that our family was to, to be vocal about stuff. So I don't know. I have a level of confidence about speaking. It was crazy because here I was when I went in the military. I was 19 when I went in, and I worked at the ATC NCO Academy, which was professional military education, and we were directly under a 4-star general. So we had like privileges that nobody
You were
else.
spoiled, is what you're saying.
We were spoiled. We worked hard, but we were spoiled. We had a lot of privileges, and we had a lot of high-ranking people that would attend the graduation ceremonies.
Hey, we got
And hey, Steve-O.
Hey.
And it was crazy because I was 19 years old, and I would be surrounded by these high-ranking people sitting there having conversations with them. And I'm just an airman basic when I started out with this. Like, I had no rank, but I'm standing here talking to colonels and generals and DOD personnel and whatnot. And it was crazy because I got these experiences. I was put on a Tiger team. I was part of the General's Council. They put me in charge of the dormitory. Here I am, nobody. Like, I had no rank, but I just had leadership qualities. And I just had, because I was in the right place at the right time or whatever, and just the right personality, circumstances, whatever, like, I just got these responsibilities, and I got to be part of things at a very young age. It was kind of weird, but it's thinking back about it, it's kind of cool, like, I just took it in stride like I do everything else. But I was talking to a friend of mine about a year ago that I went to high school with, and he told me that he'd always had a crush on me. I was like, okay. And he said, I just love your confidence. He said, you're one of the most confident people I've ever met. And he says, I just have always admired that about you. And I don't think of myself as particularly confident, but I'm not
called a know-it-all.
Oh yeah, all the time. But the thing is that if I open my mouth, I'm not going to open my mouth if I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but
open my mouth and I don't know what I'm talking about. It's to ask questions so that I can learn and understand.
I always try to leave room for being wrong.
Oh, I know. There's times when I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm right about everything.
Well,
I'm also not wrong about everything either. So.
Well, there is that. Listen, I remember when I was a little kid, I would tell my dad, "No, I have an invisible shield here, so your guy can't hurt my guy." I'm not right.
Yeah, when I was
that's called denial.
When I was younger,
Yeah.
Words never really hurt, but as I got older, and especially after I had my first heart attack, it was like I got soft. All of a sudden, I was like, "Oh man, words can hurt bad." I don't know. I went from one extreme to the other. I used to live a whole different life. So. But
That's true. I think that some people have they think that they're tough to words or whatever. They think that words don't bother them, but there's just the right words haven't been used on them yet. Like some people, everybody has their triggers.
I think, Steve-O, you have a point about things though, because if you're wounded some way, like, you can be a super confident person, be on top of the world, but if something happens that wounds you somehow, like emotionally, physically, whatever, it takes down your confidence. Like, it takes down that invincibility that you once had before.
Yeah.
And makes you aware that you are vulnerable. And I think that that really can, come into play there.
I think that it gave me PTSD and of the entire day that it happened, and I think that when you really think that there's a real possibility that, you may just, that may be it, you think about a million things, and then that I think triggered a PTSD in me to where I'm like, more worried about feelings now than I ever was in the past. Your feelings, my feelings, feelings. What's that? Even my boys said that I raised them kind of tough, to where I was like, don't cry, don't be a baby. And now I'm like, talk to me, come on, tell me your feelings. And they're like, Dad, I'm not like that, and it's like, shit,
Yep. Totally get that. I was kind of raised like that too. My dad, one of his favorite sayings, my dad was a Texan, so he has all those Texas colloquialisms, but he used to tell me I'd hurt myself, and he'd look at it and he'd say, I had worse than that on my eyeball. So it was like being told to suck it up and deal,
Yeah.
But so I get that, I have that too, but I don't know. I think after you have a really bad experience like that it really like shakes your confidence about things, and it
Sure does.
opens you up to it makes you realize your vulnerabilities.
I think they call it. Did they call it losing a step? And it's in anything. It's in confidence. It doesn't even mean age either, which a lot of people have a worry about. But what do you guys think? Sorry, I got a gnat down here.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's like one gnat but it always wants to find me.
Yeah. Well, as far as public speaking goes, I used to be very good at it. In fact, I was I was thinking about trying to get onto a Chamber of Commerce board in Rockford when I was out there. I ran a multi-million-dollar shop, and it was like we had accounts with everybody, so it was like I got to know a lot of people, and I got a little big for my britches with that. I think too. I thought I was a little more important than because Rockford is the second largest city in the state. Next to Chicago. Yeah. And, I felt like, I mean, my shop was right in the middle of town, right on State Street, and everything. And it was, it was a good time. And I could publicly speak all the time. We would give donations and stuff and go to the Rotary Club, things of that sort. And then now, even though I do this online, it took a lot of balls. Waylon is really the one that got me up and like,
on stage.
He told me, he was like, you can do it, man. He was very, very good at getting me to realize, maybe I had something and maybe I could, get that information out to people that I was wanting to, and stuff. And, I appreciate that, by the way, Will. And it's been a long time since I've thanked you for giving me the confidence to do this.
Was it hard to get up on live when you first started doing it?
Oh yeah, I was in the comments for 6 months, and stuff, and I wasn't ever going live, and I started doing it with you, and actually at first I got hooked on it. I started doing it so much, it was like 7 days a week, all day long, every day, and then I got to be, now I'm down to three days a week, and I feel like I get more good content out in a smaller amount of time. And it's just been better for me. My wife is not mad about it anymore. And, there's just all kinds of things that gave me the anxiety when it was time to go live. You said it earlier, Waylon, hitting that live button, man. Even still now, it's like you go to hit that live button and you're like, you got to take that deep breath and go, I got this. Am I right? Are you the same way?
I go, lilu lila, lilu lula, lila la lu. And then I go, the Human Torch was denied a bank loan. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
My God.
Like, let's go.
Nut.
I mean, but no joke, though, saying some, like, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. I use tongue twisters in order to help, because I trip over my own tongue all the time. I've gotten better because I have been been doing this more, but helping myself because I can tell I've gotten better because I'm better at saying tongue twisters.
He sells seashells by the seashore.
Yep,
That's
that's
what he sells.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pecks of pickled peppers? Okay, I'm done. I tried to go to when you do when you lift weights and you try to go you do maxing out. I was trying to max out there. That wasn't happening. Hello, Margaret. I see you on the Rumble and the X.
Hey, Margaret.
Sounds more like you got maximum overload.
That's what I'm saying. I trip over my own tongue, so I have to do. I have to work on that. It's something I have to do.
Margaret's a super fan.
She jumps around. Just same with a few others that jump around on the other. They get into the wheel more too. I mean, they get on.
Oh, that's right.
Share wheel, yeah. You don't have to share, I guess, necessarily. Shares seem to not be a good thing anymore on Facebook. Kind of gets you in trouble, and it doesn't go anywhere when you've shared something. And there's a lot of reasons why it doesn't seem to work out.
I get tagged all day, in everybody's lives, and it helps me to be aware that someone's live sometimes that I didn't realize. I'm like, oh shit, and then so I don't mind being tagged myself. I think that I can either watch it or not. It's like,
right.
Oh, I'm busy, I can't right now. Or I'll do it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me to be tagged either.
Well, it's like
look through and ignore whatever.
Yeah.
Sure. When Kasia said that going live on the phone has helped her in person, talk to people in person, I can totally see that. But it's very different. I mean, but hey, so I had a question earlier that I didn't get back to. Hey, speak of Jason.
Hey, Jason.
What's going on, guys? Let me see.
Yoda pipe arrived. It has.
You what?
Yoda pipe arrived the other day.
You're fucking shitting me.
Yeah.
I thought you had a Yoda
like a year ago.
pipe. Didn't you have another Yoda pipe? Was it you or was it somebody else?
No, that's the only one I've got now. I just
You're
got it.
fucking shitting me, Steve-O.
Was it was that from last year?
It was
It
forever.
got lost in the mail.
Yeah.
That was from a game night or something.
I think it was game night. Yeah, I think I
I
wanted
think it was from a game night.
Connect 4, I think, is what it was, I think.
Was there anything else in there?
Yeah, there was a this thing right here, this little dab straw.
Oh snap!
Yeah, it's a grape flavored Randy's, and it doesn't really taste like grapes, but it's nice and handy to sit here and when I leave my tray in the other room, I leave this in here, and I'm like, oh, and
it's a flower bowl too.
I can see how you
flip it around.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yep, you flip it around and you can pack flour in the other end.
Yep. If I take this grape thing out,
Yep.
Wait, is that electronics, Steve-O?
No,
you just heat it up with your torch.
Oh, it's like a straw.
Glass tip.
straw.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Better late than never.
Hey man, I was excited. It wasn't even on my informed delivery or anything. It just showed up out of nowhere. I was like, okay, hell yeah.
How long have you been waiting for it?
It's
been over a year. It had to have been.
It's been rankling
What's the address on there?
for a year.
Do you have the package?
That's crazy.
Not anymore. I was gonna check the date the other day, but no.
Either the date or the address, because I've moved twice since then.
Oh,
So,
that's right.
Yeah, I've moved twice since then, so you can check the address too.
I think you moved at least twice, maybe 3 to 4
Yeah.
times.
It might have been more than that.
Well, anyway, thanks for the pipe, man.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy it, brother.
I won't use it. It's too cool to use.
Good piece.
Be a cool necklace.
Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
You could use it at the Herbal Roots.
Oh, that's a good point. I could do that. Yeah, I got the Jeep all fixed up, ready to go, man. I'm excited.
Diane, I don't know which one yours was. Was yours the nutrients? Somebody, I think it was you that won a whole case of nutrients.
Oh, that's right.
And the USPS was like, hey, it's like, well,
Billy's looking for a 3-hole hash pipe.
it's probably some innuendo. Don't trust it. Don't trust it.
I got mine from Quality Glass is where I got mine from.
A 3-hole hash pipe.
3-hole hash pipe.
So yeah, like it's like a bowl that looks like a regular smoke bowl, but it just has 3 holes in it for smoking hash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are pretty good. So, I gave Billy some shit yesterday, or was it? That was Tuesday. I was doing a review on the this Moss Avenue sale. I was like, what are we flea marketing? Like, this is not a flea market. And then later I'm like, I mean, it's like a flea market. There's a lot of different booths with a lot of different stuff.
I take it you don't have an air conditioner, do you, Jason?
Our power is coming out, going on, and we got a window shaker air conditioner, but it's in one room, and I have a 5-bedroom house. So this house is that one room is cold, and that's it.
So is the old wiring, or is there a storm happening? What's going on?
Yeah, it's storming bad. Detroit got flooded today. There was people going down the road in canoes and kayaks and shit. It was funny as fucking videos.
Yeah.
Funny videos. But we hit like 93 or 94 degrees today, and it's just fucking hot.
Damn.
Yeah, you guys got that heat dome that we had last week.
The heat, humidity, it's just nasty.
Yeah, I bet. We didn't have the humidity, thank God. If we'd have had humidity at 110 degrees, God, I don't even know what the heat index probably would have been like 120, 130.
Oh shit.
Well, let's
have that, but
we got Lisa May in the house. Well, let's get Jason's opinion on the topic, I guess, before he's got to boop on out or melt away. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
So Jason, have you ever spoken in front of a large crowd?
Yeah. Yep.
I guess,
what do you consider large? My graduating class was 350 people, and I spoke in front of them. I spoke in Chicago during there was a thing in Chicago that I did for McDonald's, so probably 400 or 500 people there. Spoke a lot in church. I went to a very large church when I was younger and was youth group leader and all of that. So I spoke in front of people at church. At the Breslin Center, the Jack Breslin Center in Lansing, where Michigan State is at. There was an event called Acquire the Fire. Probably 500, 600, 700 people there. It depends on what you consider a large event.
Well, that sounds big to me. All of those, bro.
Yeah.
So but then again, when you come to these groups, some of these groups have like Happy Hippie Head Shop. They're at 24,000 members. We go live in that group all the time. That's at any point in time, 24,000 people could see that I'm sitting on my back porch with a cooler sitting right here and blankets sitting right here, and it's dirty as fuck. Right now we're live
there.
So talking in front of groups, I've been going live on camera here for 5 years now. So
And you
I've never been scared of public speaking, really.
Never? Like the 10-year-old Jason, like you didn't. So I told you the story the one time about me trying to be a stand-up comedian in like 5th grade, right? Where I just bombed. Well, I was confident up there. Like, so I guess I should give myself some credit. I was confident up there. I just had nothing to offer the people.
But I've always been a salesman. I've always been a salesman and always been a hustler, so I've always been able to talk to people.
Well, okay, but
You
so give
know,
us some ideas of what you do. Do you
On the
like
grift.
picture them in the underwear?
what's that?
You picture them in their underwear? What's
You
the
know,
what's your
it depends on the crowd. Because with certain crowds, I want to be compassionate to other people's feelings. I want to I want to do that. There's other crowds that I don't give a fuck. I don't care if you think my
like
shit stinks or not,
like a
Karen.
bunch of kids if you were
You
talking?
know, there's other ones that I want to be very respectful to because what they've done for me and my country or for me and my family. So it depends on the groups that I'm talking to. But I mean, my first job was a paper boy. I was fucking 7 years old delivering paper. So then
Whoa,
we
how are you?
didn't have an app that collected the money. We had to go door to
7?
door and collect the money at 7 years old. As a Boy Scout
We had to be
and as a
12
troop
to do that.
leader at that, you had to be confident. You had to have that presentation. And even going in the further with debate class and acting, stuff like that. So no, I
Speech
talking
class.
in public really didn't. It wasn't an issue for me. I always just, I was that one that ran my mouth. It was,
Do you have a
uh,
favorite speech? Do you have a time where you remember the crowd just loved it? They went wild. Ah, we love you, and everyone threw their jock straps up on screen, up on stage, or whatever.
no, a couple tomatoes here and there, but
Rotten
not no
tomatoes
jock straps.
or panties. I just thought I'd go the other way with it. Just
um,
kidding. Anyway, I did
really
not to put
any
you on the spot.
significant time? No, nothing really major stood out. Just
You spoke about some important things. I mean,
yeah,
talking to
you
people
know,
about the trying to advocate for cannabis and such.
yeah. I've definitely spoke a lot on cannabis. I've spoke a lot on religion. Spoke a lot on mental health. Mental health is my big one. And that's what I push locally too is mental health.
So
What I
you're
push
saying you
this
don't
year.
get nervous then either?
I don't think so. No.
So I got nervous, and I talked about it not too long ago. I got nervous on X. It was an audio only space, but I looked at the people that were on the quote stage as I was trying to. I had my hand raised in order to get up to talk, and there were people like some Congress people, and all these like people with several 100,000 followers and such. I started to get a little nervous. I was like, "Oh man!" They never pulled me up there, but I was like,
Is that
"Oh,
because
whoa."
you envy them, or what is it? Is it because
No,
you
because
think
you
that
don't
they're
want to
better than
say
you?
no, no, no. You
Because
just want to be smooth about it. It's not about them. It's the fact that there was 1,000 people in that space listening,
okay,
and you could really make or break. You could really boost a lot. Like there's a it's an opportunity that you don't want to like fuck up, and so there's
right.
that nervousness about it. Like I don't get starstruck. The way I imagine it is like if I talk to that person one on one, like I wouldn't care. But if we're like in a situation where I'm trying to present myself in the best manner possible, you
Yeah.
know,
See,
anyway,
I think I would stutter more in front of family. For instance, you guys, when you and Steve went up on stage doing the 420 event
at least it
back
was there.
there, when you guys did that, I think I would have been a little more nervous then because that's in front of some of my closest peers, some of my
I thought
closest
they were
family,
nervous.
and it was a very small event.
What'd
I
you
think
say?
I would get more nervous with smaller amount of people than with large amounts of people.
She
You
said
know,
she said she thought we were nervous.
Everybody but Mess, pretty much. He was pretty self-confident with.
I
uh,
was nervous because I think I was annoyed and like off because we were trying to get a bunch of stuff set up that wasn't working. The streaming part wasn't going to work, and how the guy's Wi-Fi was basically non-existent in the club. It was like,
so
how,
is that nervousness or is that frustration because
Yeah, you
of
get
stuff
frustrated.
not working right? So then you are irritated that people
right?
aren't going to that it's not going to go perfectly smooth.
I think they're all balled up together. I mean, nervousness can be me being worried about the show being good still, even though I think part of it's not going to happen or whatever it is. So I guess maybe to your point, frustrated would cover it. I don't know. I don't know why I'd have to add them together, but nervousness to me is like just the effect, like the physical effect that your nerves have on you when you're like hyped up. You could be excited and be nervous. You guys ever
Yeah.
had that where you're like super pumped and you're just like, fuck.
One thing too for me is I can't read a speech. I'll write a couple cliff notes, but I can't read it.
Yeah.
I can't read it word for word. I have to throw in some extra stuff or something all the time.
That's what's up,
just,
Joe.
oh yeah, Steve played it good. Do you guys have it still? Is it floating around anywhere?
It was like, I don't even think it was barely audible.
Yeah, well, Kezia has a good recording of it. She sat in front. Yeah, she's got a pretty good recording of most of it. You couldn't really hear Mess all that much, but man, the whole fire and the whole team were like shroomed out of their minds, man. Right when it was time to go on stage, they were all like, and they did great considering there's no way I could have. I was nervous until it was time. And then all of a sudden, I just looked out and I saw everybody and I'm like, man, ain't nobody going to give me no shit. I'll just try to be funny. And I did the best I could,
Yeah, you were funny.
I felt awkward because I really wanted to. I had this this fantasy of it being just like our show, talking about whatever sustainability, but in person, or people in the boxes in person. But it was never going to be like that. It's just like you gotta like set up material for an in-person type audience. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it comes from the way you're grown up, the way you grow up, the way you're raised.
The type of entertainment you take in.
I think that if you are a very outgoing and outspoken child, you're going to be a very outgoing and outspoken person.
But don't you think you can get over that and become outspoken as a person that's shy?
100%.
May's kind of shy.
100%.
And I'm nervous and I get butterflies all the time.
Yep.
I only had to give like one speech in college, and that was on the topic I chose to be a CNA. You had to pick one disease or something.
Mm.
And
How
so
did you get an A?
No, it was probably a B or something. The speech was the hardest part. I don't like talking in front of people, and I do get nervous. I'm nervous about going to this concert on Saturday.
Now, did you guys take debate in high school or
a gen ed class, and they talked to us about how everybody's scared to talk in front of people, and they told us to imagine we were somewhere else and that you're talking to yourself.
And everybody's naked.
But everybody wasn't naked to my college teacher, but that's how you wanted them to be.
I guess, like, I don't know what that was, if that was ever real. Do you think that was ever really a thing that people...
I think it might have been real until it got to the point where teachers and students couldn't say that to each other anymore.
Did you picture them naked? I did, but it was so distracting.
What about the children?
You said more like a beach or something calm and relaxing, so you're relaxed.
That sounds right, yeah.
All I say is, you know what? They're not up here doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously. If they wanted to be up here doing it, be my guest. You can do a better job. Let's go.
Yeah, you really put yourself out there doing live streams for hundreds of people. I mean, you talk about potential with the hippies. I mean, shit, with GrowFan, we got nearly 1 million followers on there. Yeah. So there's a possibility of 1% of those people being there at once. I freeze up. I remember one time I didn't know, but I had over 800 people in my live. And if I would have known that, I would have really took advantage of it, believe me. But at the same time, I might have froze up if I would have known it. You never know. I mean, that's a lot of people, man.
Well, I was going to bring up Chris Fisher and you too, where you both had like suddenly, like he had on Facebook, it jumped up to 600 one night.
Yeah.
Not too long ago. And Steve-O had a couple times like on the Rumble, and it's like that it's like, yes, I don't think it would make me nervous if I knew that was where it was at. But when it happens all of a sudden,
You need something out of your pocket now. You need to pull something right out of the holster and make it entertaining, like quickly, no matter what you're doing. And being able to shift gears like that, that's something you're good at, though, Waylon. You're very
Right.
good at communicating in that way. And,
cheers to that.
hosting, there's something to be said about being a host as well. It's different than just streaming. Being a host of a show, you have to, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things in order to keep the show entertaining. Like cutting me off right now while I'm rambling is probably like a good idea.
Actually, you brought in a good point, though, because there's a difference between hosts and co-hosts. That co-host is there to keep everything on track, to keep it going. That co-host can ramble on whatever, while that host is taking his hit and slacking and not doing anything else.
Yeah,
so
you got to be able to work off of each other and fill in those gaps, and that type of thing. And I get what you're saying, because I've said it ever since me and Waylon ever got together that he does the work of the show. I mean, he does all, for sure. I as a co-host, I more or less just try to compliment what we're doing, and try to make it interesting and get involved.
You hold your part of the show too.
Sure.
Yep, the certified segment. That's what it started out as. You got to remember that some of us, we've been doing it a long time, and each one of us have our own individual show, but it's much better when we got all of us up on screen, at least in my opinion. When I have somebody else to talk to truly up on screen instead of just in the comments, it makes that show that much better, that much more interacting, that much more interesting.
Well, and I always, the Indoor Farmer Show was never supposed to be about just what I'm growing. Like I used to go to friends like gardens and go to like botanical gardens and go to places where I could show off other people's grows. And so I always wanted someone like Steve-O to have on to show off what he's got growing and what he's found and stuff like that. So it's important to have more than just say here's what I got, here's what I did. Same thing with this show. It's important to have more perspectives. And so let me ask you this, Jason, or anyone really, what is there anybody out there? Is there any person in the world? I'll give you alive or dead that you would be nervous to talk to.
Famous person, we're saying?
Any person. Famous would probably be the main
I would
route.
be nervous to talk to my grandmother. I mean, I'll be plain and simple. I think she would smack the living shit out of me.
To adults, like talking about what you did. And what you did. Okay.
I think she would smack the living shit out of me and be like, what the fuck? For real?
That's a good one, man. My grandpa. I'd be nervous.
I think it would be my grandmother would make me the most nervous.
That's a good
Celebrity-wise, I've been to too many Comic-Cons and just random encounters in Detroit that celebrities, I don't really think I get starstruck. It's like, oh, yeah, whoa, yeah, you're nice job, but I don't know if I would actually truly get nervous from talking to them. And even saying this, the hairs on the back of my neck saying my grandmother, just stand up. And I know she's standing here right fucking behind me saying, yeah, motherfucker, straighten up.
Right. That's true, man. I'd be more nervous, I think, talking to some of my, I don't know if you call them ancestors, if they're just like my grandpa, but
well,
doesn't the ancestor like have to do with like distant relative, like late, like a long time ago? But yeah, Joe brings up a good point. Lisa May, if you get any more tan, you're gonna start looking like bacon. But you do look very nicely tanned. You say you're nervous about this. I'm gonna put you on the spot at the show. I have some microphones.
No, you're not.
to do a quick interview with you while you're there.
I'm gonna be hiding from you.
In my opinion, gotta talk
No.
to people and get them all involved. That's what a good comedian does. You know, a good comedian gets that crowd involved, gets that interaction going, you know, plays off of them. He has his good jokes, but then he plays off the crowd. So, yeah.
I always called myself a situational humorist because I can't be just like, okay, be funny.
What's up, Sassy?
I don't know. I can't. I don't have anything. I'm sorry. But if it's like while we're talking, yeah, I can. I guess that's more witty. Would you call that witty if you're funny during conversation versus a
Yeah.
comedian who can pull like that's
Witty.
trying to create?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Well,
I think
like-
that's one defense mechanism. Go ahead, Steve.
What's up, man?
Yes, yesterday when we interviewed Jorge Cervantes, I felt pressure on that, and you know it was a big deal for me because that dude, man, he's he's a living legend. You know, he's one of the originals. You know, and probably amongst growers our age, you know, one of the most famous of all. You know, him and Kyle Cushman and guys like that roll off the tip of your tongue. And to have your book called the Grower's Bible is, you know, a pretty big deal. That's what people refer to it. That's not the name of the book, you know. And I thought it was a big deal, you know, to me because it was the biggest interview I've ever done, for sure. And I think it just sets the stage for even bigger and better ones, you know. And I got a little bit when I met him before the show, I got a little tongue tied because I kept trying to find a way to ask him to do a promo for me, and then I found out that they cost money. That guys like him don't do promos for free. You know, he's not going to say stay certified, you know, without getting some certification. You know what I'm saying? He wanted some cheddar. So, you know, it's like
you got to trick him into saying it. Like, yeah, I'm sure you couldn't say this. I'm sure.
yeah, right.
Oh, I could this like this.
But he turned out to be a real down to earth, easy guy to interview,
Yeah.
and you know he led the conversation a little bit, and you know answered a lot of cool stuff. We didn't sit there, you know, talking about lights and beans and you know all the same stuff we talk about every week on our shows. All of us do, especially on Grow Fam, and it's like you know we talked about stories about you know shit that happened and stuff, and you know the background of Jorge Cervantes and how he came about, you know, and I don't know. I thought it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
So you thought it went well, right?
Yeah, I thought it went real well.
There you go.
I did. I got to ask him certain questions and stuff, and you know, I don't know. I think it's worth a watch for sure.
But you had a good point though that if you feel like it went well, if it went well, that can be a good springboard, a stepping stone to several more similar or bigger or you know whatever. And that's awesome.
Yeah,
I was having some good interviews, but like it just became difficult to nail people down.
you've had some real good ones.
Well, now I'm having more in-person interviews, and I feel like it's going to be fun, but it might also make me nervous depending on who I can get to come in person, man. Like you guys can, you'll be able to tell. Like,
Isn't it easier to do in person though than it is to do like this? I think that in-person interviews are easier.
Depends, man. Like they're coming into my house. It's like if I look up to this person, I'm going, oh yeah, don't look at that. Sorry, about this over here. Don't. You know, like it's just something like you know, it's a more personable because they're in your space, and you're worried about first impressions and things. I'm not saying that I should be. I'm not saying that it's like an intense feeling. Obviously, I do this stuff. I'm not that like affected by it, but it is an effect. Like where I'm, part of me is going like I had the guys from you know Daz Exotic and the whole crew from the late night tip tour that's going to be playing Saturday when they had them in the house. Like for a day and a half beforehand, I was cleaning my house. I was straightening things. I was doing stuff that they were never even going to see. It was just
Oh
I was
yeah.
working off of this sort of a high that you get when you know you have company coming in from out of town. There's this sort of like a energetic kind of, I don't know, anxiety that you kind of get where you're just like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm doing things I've been meant to do for like 6 months. This is great.
Yep.
I'm going.
Yeah, it's amazing how much you can get done when you're motivated, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So imagine like bigger and bigger and bigger, like whatever. Like I can imagine interviewing. Like I have a friend who's a lawyer, and I really would love to have him on. And I feel like the cannabis can be like off-putting, and maybe I don't know, I can't tell whether he's being honest if he actually would want to come on sometime. This and that. I have a few other people that say these kind of things, and I'm like, well, if those kind of people come on, I would be a little nervous because I definitely would want to try to make a good impression from
Yeah.
from my point of view. I wouldn't be like, hey, let's do a dab, Your Honor.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we're gonna be pulling double duty on July 12th and 13th at the event because we're going to be there in person, meeting people and promoting and doing things of that sort. And we're going to be going live, doing things like that, in order to communicate with those who couldn't be there. And I'm a little nervous about that, just in the fact of I want to be sure that if I get too high, I get real quiet and I get like real you know what I mean? So I've learned before my lives now, don't get high. That's just the way it goes. And I don't smoke during my lives because that's even more of a bad situation. Because I just get I don't know. I'm like Kim said earlier. Kim said she feels like she gets dumb when she smokes. Well, I know I do. I know I get dumb.
Yeah, I don't like it. I can't function. I can't communicate. I can't think. I just want to, I don't know,
Meditate.
meditate, laugh. I don't know, whatever the effects are. It's not conducive to being a coherent speaker.
That was one of my questions to the crowd earlier. Was that like, do you find it easier or harder to go into public while medicated? Like, can you go to the store and do your thing, talk to a policeman if you need to? I am that way.
Yep.
It's kind of a.
I have to be.
Shoot, if a cop comes up on me, I probably ain't even high no more.
Yeah, I immediately lose my buzz. I'm like,
It doesn't bother me to be high out in public because I'm not particularly social whenever I'm out like shopping or whatever.
I bet you'd be more social then.
Huh?
I bet you would be more social then.
No. I'm more social when I'm sober, I think. But I don't really get high before I drive because, like,
no, we're not talking. We're taking that out of the conversation. You were
yeah.
driven to this location, whatever this location was. Do you find it easy? Like, yeah, we're not.
Well, I will say one time a friend of mine gave me an edible before we went to the store. And so we're driving along and that fucking thing hit me. And I don't need a lot of edibles. So they really hit me hard. So I'm driving along and it hit me and I was like, oh, whoa. It was weird driving. I didn't like that at all.
So speaking of driving and back to the topic, I felt anxiety. I'm going to read Alan's comment in a second, but when I overseas, when we had, you got to the point where you were tested out as everybody got tested a little bit. Different drivers got the chance to drive as the lead gun truck in the convoy, which then had convoy of other trucks with tankers of about 7,500 gallons of jet fuel in each one of these. And so every few trucks, you would have another, what we called a gun truck, which was just a truck with different guns, different mounted and like turret mounted guns and different types of guns. larger, more security basically. And so I had to, getting into the front gun truck as the driver, I had to then be radioing back to the entire convoy. So this is like, I don't even have a number of people, but you're talking 30 vehicles, a couple, 2 or 3 people in each vehicle. And so that's a little like it was a rush. Not gonna lie, like it wasn't like I wasn't nervous as like, oh, I can't do this, but it's a rush, because you're just like, and I'm not talking, I'm not rambling like I am now. You're just throwing like quick, decisive, like, things like you have this coming up or that's going on, about to take this route, changing route, whatever, and all this stuff. And it's like, it's funny because when you get up front, like you don't sometimes don't see what's coming forward. And like one time we were in a highway, it was daytime, and you have like the Mirage and going on the highway about 60 whatever 70 miles an hour, and we hit this piece of the entire interstate that was just cut out. It wasn't blown apart, it was just cut out. And so the entire gun truck drops about 3 feet off of the highway and then back up on the other side. Yeah, it was a good 2 or 3 feet. You're
going
talking
60,
about
70 miles an hour.
Yeah, you're talking about like tractor size tires, and we went down and back up. And man, my gunner got jarred like crazy, but
I bet
none of us saw it. It was like right at the crest of a hill as you're looking at the like sun and everything. Anyway, that was a side note, but the point is, like, I had to be able to see things like that and call it back. And so that's, talk about being able to speak in front of people that their life is in your hands, kind of thing. Like, okay, if you see maybe an ambush or whatever it is, you had to be quick about it. But anyway, it was fun.
I taught at this school out in California. My specialty in special ed is working with kids that have emotional disturbances and behavioral disorders. And I taught at a special school for a number of years. And we carried walkie-talkies because we restrain kids. Like, the kids that we had at our school have been kicked out of every level of education. And this was kind of like a last resort kind of a school. So we had kids that would get violent, and we had to carry walkie-talkies. And one of the things that I hated was having to talk on that walkie-talkie. I hated it. I hated it when I was a manager at Target. We had to carry walkies and communicate.
So fun, though.
Had headsets and had to talk to. I hate that shit. I didn't like that at all. Like, no? I'm very, like, it doesn't bother me to talk in front of people, but I'm, a lot of people don't believe me when I say this, but I'm very much an introvert, and I'm very quiet, and I like behind the scenes stuff. I like behind the scenes stuff, and I don't particularly like attention. And so doing that walkie-talkie thing, to me, that is a thing even to this day that makes me really nervous. I don't like it.
What's backpack off of that?
Taking orders on the headset for
what
15
about
years.
Interviews and interviewing? Is that make you nervous when you go into an interview, or if you got to interview somebody, for a job?
I was
that doesn't bother me.
Stoned or not stoned? Well, if I want them to know who I am normally, then I'm going to go while medicated.
Boy,
it's me. And I can usually humor my way through an interview. I do pretty well in interviews. I know there's a few that
smoke on the way there, but I'll smoke before, but I'm not gonna get like fucking have a sesh or anything, but I'm gonna smoke a blunt or a joint before I go.
Well, it's something to take the edge off anyway. But no,
have you guys ever had to testify in court?
I've had to go to court. Definitely would be medicated if I had to go to court.
Yeah, I've had to testify.
I go to the court medicated and say, yeah, no problem.
I had to testify for my own ass a couple times, trying to get out of trouble, telling my side of the story. Lost both times.
No, it's not. You lost both times? Damn.
And both times they got me. Yeah. That was a whole lifetime ago. I'm a good boy now.
Right.
Sometimes the interviews where there's two people interviewing you, or multiple people, oh look at you.
Blunt is not a sesh, Bunny. You know better. You smoked with me last year.
Yeah,
You know.
but you know the difference. Like if I smoked a dab before going to an interview, they wouldn't smell that. But if you smoked a blunt, they're definitely going to be like, "Whoa, this guy just,"
Mm-hmm.
Did it smell good? Never
I'm
know.
glad I live in Michigan.
Right. In Michigan, they probably think there's something weird if you don't smell like cannabis.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jason, earlier you said something about if you grew up being like something to the effect of being a outgoing person, confident speaker kind of a thing. Do you remember saying that earlier?
Yep.
I was not that kid. I remember when I was little, we would be out and about in public and my parents knew everybody. So we would be somewhere in public and my parents would invariably run into somebody that they knew. And, they would go to introduce me and I would go behind my mom because I was very shy. I'm very introverted. And, I'm still that way, but I'm a confident person and I'm not afraid to put myself out there. But my nature is I like intimate, small, whatever for the most part. I don't like big crowds. If I get a bad vibe off of people, then I really don't spend a lot of time interacting, So I don't necessarily think what you said, I would have to challenge what you said a little bit because, there are people like me that are, I don't know if I'm a true introvert or maybe I'm an ambivert. I'm not really sure exactly how you term it, but
I probably am. I like to read the room. I go off vibes too.
yeah. I'm very much a read the room person, and I've always been that way since I was a little kid.
I think that's why I like poker so much.
Where do you sit in a movie theater?
Me?
Yeah.
Usually kind of towards the back. Not in the very, very back, but it just depends, because sometimes movie theaters are packed out and you don't get much of a choice. But
your preference is towards the back.
So,
Your preference is towards the back, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, if you are going to a school event to see your kid act in a play, where are you going to sit?
Probably right in the middle.
Middle? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't like being like down in the front because.
But not up front where all these people behind you can see you.
It's not so much that. It's more because, like, my son played a lot of sports. Okay. And so, like, if you sit too close to the front, you're going to get hit by a ball or bodies or something like that.
See, I don't like that.
Necessarily going to be able to see what's going on either.
Mm-hmm.
I like a little bit of perspective.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Night, Jess.
Good night, Jess.
Good night.
Good night, Jess.
Diane says towards the back always. I don't like people sitting behind me.
Yeah, I don't like people walking around behind me. Like in a restaurant, I'll try to have my back to the wall. That's probably from jail, from, when you eat, you kind of are always watching your back, And
I don't like when people sit behind you and put their feet all over the back of your chair and shit. I don't know.
screw that.
I think our life circumstances definitely help mold us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Definitely help mold us. And even at a younger age, if we felt confident talking and then somebody made fun of us, because bullying is real. Bullying has become a major issue still nowadays. It's even real in adults. That could definitely cause an issue to how we feel about speaking now.
What do you
So,
guys think about the fact that, like, to your point, when you have an incident when you're young, like say me up on the stage, some people would then shy away from it for forever, or for a much longer period of time. Like they would then that like similar to when you have a certain food or an alcohol or something. Oh, I'm never gonna have that one again because it's like it had a bad taste in your mouth or something. Or if you have a bad experience doing something, it can make you not want to do it ever again. Like I almost drowned once when I was a kid, and that a lot of times can make people not want to be in the water at all. But I was a fish. Like I loved being in the water after that. Still, always loved to swim. Haven't got to go this year. I'm now I have this weird aversion to the public pools. Just thinking about that soup that's just boiling up in there full of
soup. Don't do it.
that feet
Don't
soup.
do it.
Just,
Yeah, I got to go at my son's apartment complex. They got a big pool for only a few people, and I could tell how clear it was. And Dylan was telling me, he goes, "That's because it's not full of people with sunscreen. That's all in the water and everything else that you can think of, obviously." And it's like, yeah, that's probably it. I mean, it was like crystal clear water. I was like,
well, they
amazing.
tell you to take a shower before you get into a pool, but nobody does.
Nobody does. Yeah.
well, even then,
There you
you're
go.
still gonna sweat, like out there in the sun.
Well, your dead skin
Anyway.
cells and everything.
I mean, I used to jump in the lakes and the creeks and all this and that, and then I'm like, man, I can't get in that public pool. Ew.
I
Yeah.
won't into lakes or rivers or anything no more like that. Not since I took care of a person, they had a flesh-eating disease.
Oh,
And they asked her how she thinks she might have got it. Has she been in any lakes or waters? She hadn't, but that's one way you can get that disease.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
wow.
Some bacteria in the water that's not moving.
Daniel, come on up, man. Boondongo, come on up. Come on.
Usually those flesh-eating diseases come from stagnant water.
Yeah.
Boondongo with 150 stars. My man. Thank you.
What up?
Can't hit the like on it. Oh, here we go. Come on up. Tell us what you think, because Kim, you're almost a conundrum here. So you had no qualms about going live on Sundays where sometimes 60 people, 70 people, 100 people, they're watching.
Sometimes when I first started out, I was like, God, I wonder how many people are going to show up, if it's going to be a big flop or that kind of a thing. But now it's just like, the first couple of times it was kind of like that. But now it's like, I don't know, it doesn't bother me really. I just get up and I figure it out, it's whatever transpires, I figure it out. One of the things that I've been really blessed with is, so far, is, knock on wood, is that, I haven't had any like weirdos jump on any of my lives and start spamming me or doing stupid stuff like that. Thank God.
You just hear yourself. Somebody's going to do it now.
I know. It's like somebody's going to get me because I put it out there. But, I don't know what I would do if I had that. You better not do it, Jason.
I won't do it.
And fly to wherever the hell it is you live.
Where's
I will
John
hunt you down.
You're lucky that you don't want to add people up very often either, because that's been our problem a couple times.
Where's Morpheus been lately?
Up here, good Lord.
Williams says public pool 97% P.
Dude, we went a few years ago. This is before the pandemic. We had one of the grandkids' birthday party at this water park. It's called Wet and Wild, and they have like all these like water slides and stuff, one of those kind of water parks. And it was pretty cool. We got there, earlier in the day, and so we participated in most everything kind of early in the day. But there's this one area of the park, and it was kind of later in the day, towards the afternoon, after a lot of people had already been there and lots of little kids and whatnot. It was a little kid play area. So anyway, so we're over there, and the water was freaking disgusting, man. It was so gross, like, because little kids are just so dirty. And I was just like looking at that going, okay, I can't be in this, because I'm like a selective germaphobe. And it was like freaking me out. I was like, okay, I gotta not be in that. It was gross.
We've been to the water park the last 3 days. I've had to tell Dill like 2 or 3 times, don't drink the water. But that's way better than it used to be, because he would stand there with his tongue out like, drinking the water. He's tried to kiss 2 older women the last 2 days.
I love it. Get it. Joe, what are you teaching that boy?
Oh God!
Where are you at?
That's his way to be nice to people, but you don't understand strangers in danger.
That's awesome.
I have to tell you a story about my
That's
nephew.
embarrassing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. He's all looking at him. Yeah.
My sister and brother-in-law, when my nephew was a little guy, like 2 or 3 years old, they were at the store, and Cindy was standing there checking out, and my brother-in-law Alan was standing behind her holding my nephew Kevin. And all of a sudden, this lady that was standing behind him in line smacks the living shit out of Alan, my brother-in-law Alan, from behind. And he turned around and he's like, what the hell did she slap me for, kind of thing. This was back in like the late 70s. Okay. And he turned around and he's like, what was that for? Well, it turns out my nephew Kevin, who's like 2 or 3 years old, had reached down in this lady's top of her shirt and was playing with her boobs.
And she thought it was a dude?
I don't know what she thought. But her reaction was
like, that's ballsy. Let me reach down your shirt and just, man, like coming up from behind and just.
No, I don't know exactly. I don't know that they know exactly how it took place, but you know how you hold a kid, and I guess Kevin was facing back. His face was backwards, and he was playing with this lady's boobs. Stuck his hand behind her shirt and was playing with her boobs.
Terry, you got both packages? I sent out 12 swag packs, swag bags.
It's expensive.
Yeah. Well, I found, it was so, I was so annoyed, and so I was a little jaded at first. And I'm like, all these people around me that mail things, how come they can't tell me the best way to do it? And every time you talk to someone, like, they'll give you a different way to do it. And I found the best way to do it is you go to like an office store and you buy the cheaper envelopes instead of the ones at the USPS. And you can find ones that are like $1 an envelope. Like, they're much cheaper bubble mailers.
I get my bubble mailers. I either look for deals on Amazon, or you can get them on Temu. Has really good deals on mailers.
Amazon and Temu, the two
I
competitors.
get 2 for $1 from Dollar Tree, or $1.25 now.
Okay, let's go around the room. Who would you be nervous to talk to? So Jason had said already. Jason, who is the famous person that you had said? on the famous side, not
Did
your
I say?
grandma, but I don't know if you did. But you don't have to if you don't know right now. I don't know. It'd be hard. I'd be
Maybe we'll
nervous
see.
to talk to Waylon Jennings because that's where I got my name. I'd be like, damn you, why couldn't you just be like a Jim or a Phil or a Fred? Fred Jennings, you know, like, come on. Had to be Waylon. I don't know. Let's see who else. If it had to be alive, I'd be nervous to talk to like the head of the FBI or something. Like, I didn't do
Joe said
anything.
Megan Fox. He'd be nervous to talk to her.
Who?
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
She's pretty fun.
Like, are you? So, are you gonna do another Transformers movie? I got him. I heard that from here. Yes, that's good stuff. I thought she was good in the first trailer with the Shia LaBeouf, Shilaboof or whatever his name is. Rose says Kim has cute mailers. Okay.
They have butterflies. Because my spirit name is Butterfly.
Diane says she would love to talk to Waylon Jennings. Wouldn't that be cool? Or like Willie Nelson, you know? But like I feel like I wouldn't be nervous to talk to. I might not be nervous to talk to Waylon Jennings either. I just thought it would be funny because I'd be like, you know what? My mom named me after you. Have you ever talked to are you my daddy? Waylon suits you. All right, fine. But what about my middle name, James? I could go to James. I could use that. People go with their middle name sometimes. My first name has made me, my confidence has been difficult through my life as a kid with the first name Waylon. Explaining that to friends and kids, where like it was not a normal name back then. Now it's a much more used name.
I would just tell people I wouldn't quit crying. So my mom said, Waylon, shut the fuck up.
But Waylon.
I think
brother?
that's true. I think Waylon is a common name in certain regions of the United States.
Well, in the South, maybe that's where
it's a southern name.
Look like a young Kenny Rogers, or like a Kenny Chesney. If I shave my beard, I look like a Kenny Chesney.
You look like a Waylon, the indoor farmer.
Stick to your day job.
I created my day job. It's actually a night job. We're doing it now. Actually, I need to move to the wheel real quick. We're getting close to that too.
Joe said he would be scared to talk to Bill Gates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scared he would stab him with the vaccine.
Yeah, I'd be scared to talk to anybody with sufficient power. Like celebrity-isms, I'm not so worried about, but somebody that has like some reason to like.
Katie wants the link, Waylon.
Oh.
I'm talking to like
Twisted. What's up, bro?
The people that make me nervous to talk to are either people that are authoritative, like some kind of authority kind of a thing, or huh?
Are you saying police officer, detective, like that authority?
No, not like that. More like authoritative, like higher level authoritative.
Okay.
You know, like I don't even know.
You're a teacher, so your administrative staff, like the people, like your administrative building, like.
Well, for example, I went to a conference last fall at the state level, and the highest authority in the state is the PED, the Public Education Department. And I wanted to have a conversation with the lady that's in charge of special ed. She had just been newly hired. And so I was very, very cognizant. There was some information that I wanted to parlay to her, kind of more of an advocacy kind of a thing. And so I wanted to make sure that my message was right and that I didn't waste her time. And I didn't want her to think that I was an idiot. And so, in circumstances like that, it makes me very nervous to talk to people. And it's usually people it's more of an intimidation thing. Like I know what my strengths and weaknesses are. And I'm highly educated, so I can hold my own for the most part, but there's people that are more educated than I am, more experienced than I am, in certain things. And so that's kind of it's an intimidation thing. That's having those kind of conversations with people at that level is a little more intimidating because I don't necessarily operate at that level. So I don't have necessarily the global thinking that they may have. And so,
do I intimidate you, Kim?
Huh?
Do I intimidate you, Kim?
No.
What?
No.
What?
Why would you intimidate me?
The more educated you are, the easier conversation comes too. The more you know.
Well, I would agree with you on that to some degree. It doesn't necessarily like Waylon. Do you
True, otherwise
what do you have degrees?
no.
Listen, I mean, if you're thinking,
And I'm not, and I don't mean this to be
degrees of Kevin
condescending or
Bacon,
anything like
you
that.
know.
I just want to know: do you have college degrees?
No.
Oh, I went through the course.
Do you have a bachelor's degree?
No.
Okay,
But if
but
I am a bachelor,
and wait a minute, let me make my point. Okay, so Waylon doesn't have a college degree, but that doesn't mean that he's not educated. He's a very intelligent person. He does a lot of reading. He does a lot of stuff to educate himself. Education doesn't necessarily mean formally
Knowledge
educated.
is power, though.
It is. I agree with you. Knowledge is power. But there's a lot of people that educate themselves, that are educated, or that try to educate themselves, but man, their education is full of holes too, because they're not reading or they're not educating themselves with good information, should we say.
well, we've long made a difference or made a distinction between book smart and street smart.
But some people just talk out the side of their ass all day long anyway.
And
Even book smart ain't book smart anymore because they're saying them books weren't true.
There's
Half
that.
our history books that we learned back in school,
Yeah.
they don't have anymore. They destroyed them. Oh, this wasn't part of history. We're taking this out. We're taking this out.
Very. No.
Well, you have to understand that history, like anything else, it's kind of a science. Like maybe political science, or there's science behind it. And as things come to light, and it doesn't matter what discipline you are in science, when the information that you have is challenged or is proven incorrect, or something new comes to light to change, then it causes that science to evolve. And that's what's happened with a lot of our history, I think, or some of our history at least.
Okay.
I think everyone is fully capable of being intelligent, but everyone is also fully capable of trying to get out of the car with their seatbelt on.
Yes, I do that shit all the time.
Hi, Keisha.
Hi, Keisha.
How are you?
Like, damn it, where are my glasses? Where did I set them? Oh, fuck, they're right
Where's
here.
my phone? I just had it.
Right.
I think everybody has like a strength. Everyone has like a. I always thought if I had employees, and Steve-O maybe you can, and Steve, Jason too. I think a lot of you have had people under you, like you want to look at for their strengths, and some of them might be in positions that they shouldn't be in. Like, whoa! You're much better suited over here, buddy, with the dull knives, not the sharp ones.
Mm-hmm.
But people do have strengths, though, sometimes where you're like, wow, that look at our kids with their special needs, like the Savant and the whole, like, they make movies of this. Like, it's a trope now with what was his name, Ben Affleck, where he was had autism, and he's like a contract killer and some shit. Just this, But anyway, Kim, what were you gonna say? Sorry, we lost it. Okay, have a gummy. Go get a gummy, Kim. Come on, you gotta be on our level.
No, that will put me under. I did. I
Gidget, do you get nervous talking?
The Accountant was what I was called. Yes, he knows what I'm talking about. Twisted and I are like on the same wavelength on like movies and music. It's funny. Speaking of, I want to shout it out one more time since we have game night this coming Sunday. You guys, please, if you have a gift code from any of my sponsors on game night, use that gift code, or let me know that you can't use it, or something. Try to figure out what you can get with it. If it's a cost kind of thing, check it out, figure out. Let me know if you need anything or have any trouble trying to figure it out too. Sometimes the code's not, you may not be able to see where it's at or something. Oh, and real quick, while I have the floor, you have to, if you want to hit the like button, you will get on this wheel. Make sure you hit that like button. We'll get on the wheel for a game night ticket. We got 25 likes. Let me refresh. 26, 27, 28. And then also I'm going to get everybody from Rumble and X.
I know the point I was going to make. Can I speak?
Let's hear it.
So if you go back 30 years, before we really had the internet, knowledge was finite. Like, you learned what was out there to learn. I mean, you still do, but it was not as open. With the invention of the internet and the accessibility to information, and with a lot of the exploration that we've had in space and everywhere else, one of the things that we've learned as a society, or as educators, I guess you should say, have learned, is that knowledge is infinite. There is no way to know everything. There was a time when I was growing up when you had people that knew everything, or were considered to be people that knew everything. And now, I'll have students say, well, you should know that, you're a teacher. Well, the thing is that there's no possible way that you could ever know everything that there is to know. And I think that we're at a crossroads with all of that. I'm pretty well read. I'm pretty well educated. The stuff that I had to read for my degrees in political science some of it was highly offensive stuff that was really hard to read, just a lot of stuff. But there were a couple of things that I learned through the internet, and I went back and I researched them after I heard this stuff, because I just don't take anything at face value. But there were a couple of things that I learned. One of them was about gator baiting. Have you guys ever heard about gator baiting? Any of you guys?
It seems incredibly painful. I'm just saying.
So it was a practice that was used down in the South, where they used live children, infants and small children, to bait gators. Okay, so learned about that. That is not something you learn in history books, and most people even nowadays don't know much about it. The other thing that I would use to illustrate this point is, and I can't think of I want to say it's Cooperstown or something like that. There's a community in the South. I want to say it was in Oklahoma. And it was a relatively affluent Black community that was decimated by white people during, prior to the whole civil rights thing. And that was not something that you still to this day that you find in history books. So a lot of things in history were undercover, they were blanketed, they were shameful things in history that people covered up and nobody knew about. And so now you have a lot of these things that are still in people's collective memory, that are now coming out and, making themselves known to the world at large. You cannot hide from things anymore. Um, I keep track of a lot of different things, and I've noticed the last few years that a lot of generals in the military are starting to get busted for things related to sexual misconduct. I know for a fact back when I was in the military that if a very high ranking officer or enlisted person was involved in something like that, that their careers were considered, because once you reach a general status, you've been in the military for a very long time, you've had a distinguished career, and so a lot of those kind of behaviors were hidden. And so we now live in a society that's now very aware of things, and I think that it's very hard to hide a lot of these indiscretions or these atrocities that occur or have occurred in the past.
Nah, I'm gonna push back on that. There's a lot of like seeding of all kinds of things and stuff that's being twisted, and like we see with our history books. Now we also see online with all of these crazy like there's a lot of fringe like rabbit holes that will suck old people down this rabbit hole where they just
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, you have to be judicious with what you believe off the internet. I agree with you. And that's the thing. I have this really good friend, and he
good luck
frustrates
everybody.
the shit out of me because he's super intelligent. He's a very, very bright, intelligent person. But he gets caught up in all the conspiracy theory stuff and all of that stuff. And, and it frustrates me because if he had just a little bit of understanding of research and stuff, methodology and stuff like that, then a lot of that conspiracy theory stuff would be shot right down. You have to be judicious with what you bring into your mind and what you believe about what's out there. But a lot of the times people are just willing to grab onto ideas or things or fantasize about them, or whatever it is that motivates people to catch on to those ideas and hang on to them and talk about them and think about them and whatever. You have to be judicious with the information out there.
Do you think that oh man, the wheel stopping maybe forget about what I was going to say. Do you think that history is written by the victors? Isn't
Always.
that pretty typical story for
Always.
So we
Always.
never really know what happened if we just hear what the rhymes and the songs that were made by it, and it was like sometimes the bards were like, oh, that word doesn't fit, we're going to use this other person's name. like
I
in the
don't
case of
want to
like
say
Paul
that
Revere.
history is
Congrats,
necessarily written by the victors, but it is definitely written to memorialize whatever society's writing it. It's, it creates mythology in which the foundations of that nationalism is built on.
I guess my the reason I push back is that we shouldn't be too. Especially when it comes to history, It's different. Science is different. It's something we can test ourselves, but we shouldn't be. I personally don't think we should be too married to the what the quote, history that we know, or the history that we're told.
Doesn't the history repeat itself because we're learning as we grow?
The new saying is that history rhymes. History rhymes. Now it doesn't repeat; it rhymes, and I think the reason is it's different in some ways, but it sounds the same. It sounds the same. It's not exactly the same, but it sounds it sounds the same.
Definitely. So my
Well, there
dinner's
is
here, guys.
nothing new under the sun. Good night, Jason.
Love you guys.
Good night, bro.
Out.
I gotta go too.
Well, I'm gonna
Thanks
do a
for
spin
having me.
for my locals numbers. Yeah, thank you, Elisa, and maybe I'll hit you up. Was it? I don't even know what time it is, and I need to buy those tickets beforehand because I think it costs more at the at the door. But
Okay, well, just let us know.
yeah, no worries. But what I'm gonna do is maybe go early and find something to eat. So I'll be hitting you guys up, find out what's around there. But anyway, thanks again. We'll see you. Bye, Joe. Bye, Lisa.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Yeah, thanks everybody for coming. I'm gonna do another wheel though before we leave.
I don't think it's as easy to hide the truth so much anymore, because people are putting out there what they know or what they hear or whatever, and they're talking about it. They're holding, there's more accountability, I think, for things now than there's been probably ever with stuff. I have a very good friend that's Native American, and her family are what they call the Apache tribe, the Cheyenne, and they were part of the whole Geronimo thing, or Geronimo. And that wasn't even his real name. Geronimo was a name given to him by the Spaniards. It's not a Native American name. I don't know what his name was, but anyway, and their lands were taken from them, lands that were given to them in the Spanish land grant. And the Americans took that land through a war with Mexico and gained it that way. And then the lands of the native people were taken away from them. And a lot of their history, so if you were Native American during these times, during these Indian removal acts and whatnot, if you did not want to end up on a reservation and have your freedom taken away from you, then you subsumed into the culture around you. And many of them around here are subsumed into the Mexican culture. And
hey guys, I'll be right back. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. So, it's just a lot of the Native American people that I know in this area are very, very strong advocates for Native civil rights and whatnot, history and whatever. And I think that, people that are aware of their rights and their history and the truth of their history are the ones that are challenging a lot of these historical facts or whatever related to at least American history.
Well, yeah, I think it should always be challenged. Definitely have to find a way to move forward without necessarily having to know the details, but having some plausible thoughts on what happens. I like geology. Geology tells us a lot with history, but this is not the topic tonight. The topic tonight is confident speaking. We're about to wrap it up here pretty soon after the spin. But I will say that It is a skill. It's something that even some of us who are outgoing doesn't mean that we're going to be good at speaking in public. Doesn't mean that we're going to be as smooth as we want to be. You know, sometimes it's hard for me to get my voice inflection to sound different so that it sounds more entertaining than me sounding very monotone and speaking like this most, you know, dry, clear eyes. Or Bueller, Bueller, Bueller. But you know what I'm saying. My point is that's tough for me. Even though I'm outgoing and I can speak a lot, I have to remember to put a little inflection in my voice and be a little excited when I'm talking. Um, and I know Steve-O, I know we all struggle with the ums and us. For me, I throw other things in there too. I try not to ever use the word right. I hate people that do that. Right? You know, right? It's like a subliminal way for them to try to force you to agree with what they're saying, whatever it is they're saying. I hate that. There's a lot of little tricks. There's a lot of conversational tricks, and that's partly of what I wanted to get into tonight. Was that there are books you can read on how to be more confident, how to like what to say in certain situations to get what you want and all that. I don't read those books, but it's a whole art out there that people can like be taught. But anyway, good luck, everybody. This is a number spin for the last time this week. We had um, Miss Luhu won, and then also Mama Rochi won. I have to get both you ladies some cold hard greenbacks, but we'll see who wins this time. Good luck, everybody. Steve, thanks for coming up and hanging out, man.
Oh, for sure, man. Thanks.
I think confidence comes from
I do that too, Margaret.
failing and working through your
Oh, yeah.
failures, you know. That's how you become confident, is just like by putting yourself out there and being successful, or reflecting on your failure and just getting back in there and
Well, some people need a
improving.
reason to get out there. Like you don't like if you don't have a reason to put yourself out there, you don't do it. And then some people just turn into the point where they have no one to talk to, so they read these books or they go to whatever improv events to try to learn to be more outgoing in order to make friends. And it's very similar. Being confident is similar to the ability to go to like a new school and make new friends. You know, like that's tough for some people. But you're right. I mean, they have to decide though. Is my whole point. Is like it's kind of a decision you have to make for yourself whether you care to talk to you know people in public. It's strange because nowadays with technology they've gotten so many things now where you don't have to even talk to anyone. You can order all your groceries online. You can have it delivered. You can everything. You can do everything at on an app now instead of having to call somebody. They're kind of taking some of that away. Number 9. Let's
Yeah, I
find
don't
out.
like all of that kind of. I mean, some of it's cool. Like I have the Walmart app where I scan and go, so I don't have to. I hate standing in line, like scanning all my groceries. I feel like pressured. It stresses me out to stand there and scan my groceries. So I like really being able to use that scan and go. That takes a lot of my anxiety for shopping out. But my problem isn't so much interacting with people. I don't have a problem with that unless you're a fucking idiot. If you're a fucking idiot, then you're gonna piss me off, and then like I'm
Stop
gonna be kind of
it.
a bitch.
I had a sergeant that was my squad leader, and he was such an idiot, man. They caught him multiple times with his helmet on backwards, and he
Oh
didn't
my
know
god.
it. And like the same guy that like I think I told this story. Steve-O, tell me if you remember the story. Maybe not. But this we were driving our trucks to down to Kuwait in order to get these GPS units installed, and on our way, it's either one on our way down there or on our way back. I was driving, and he looks over, and he reaches over and he goes, "Hey, what's this do?" Click, click, and he flips these two switches. Well, that was the engine and the power in these old trucks. Like he was supposed to be one of his jobs, but he clearly knew nothing about the truck. He shuts off the engine to the truck while I was driving down the road. Like, what an idiot! Like one of the dumbest people I ever met in my life. And I'm like, he was like, somehow got through with like, had like rich family or something. Drove a Beamer. Was like a police officer back home, and I'm just like, what in the hell? How did you get this far? Reaching over, shutting it off. Like there was other instances too, but he ended up leaving, going back home before ever really doing any fighting because he got out of it by forget some knee injury. Oh, my knee. It's my knee. Mama Rochi in the house. Mama Rochi, you won last night. You may not have been there, so I'm gonna message you. I'm gonna throw you some cold hard greenback papers and for your win. Congratulations. And tonight's win was Elizabeth. Elizabeth, I don't remember your last name. You are a new friend from Margaret. Margaret, what's Elizabeth's last name? If you wanna let her know she won. And because on locals it's just Elizabeth, so hard for me to know. But she won the spin, and it means I got to get her cash out. Congrats, Elizabeth. Hey, we got B Daz Exotic in the house. What's up, Brandon? Come on up. Where are you at? You're probably busy right now. We're about to wrap up anyway.
I don't like to talk to people that are condescending. I don't like to talk to ugly people either. I have a hard time with that.
You don't like talking to people that aren't attractive, you said?
No.
Got her.
Got her.
You're a turd. No, I didn't say that. No, just like people that are like prigs. Like, I don't know, that think they're all that like condescending.
Now, Kim. That was a joke. Because it was anyway.
Got it.
Was I being condescending?
No, I was being condescending by saying now, Kim.
Oh, got you. Okay, that totally went over my head.
Yeah.
I don't take you as being a condescending person, so.
I try not to. Hey. All right, Kelly's home. Time to go. See you guys later.
All right, good night, Steve-O. Peace out, brother.
Peace.
Thanks. We'll see
Bye.
you. See Steve-O tomorrow night on his show, the Daily Sesh on the Knock Network. And you'll see Kim on Sunday for her show, the Legit Bean Review Remastered for Girl Fam Homestead and for her group. Go check it out. Guys, have a good weekend. Hopefully you all get into something fun. I know it's going to be a blast this weekend. Going to be seeing this man here on stage, live, in charge, just,
What are you doing, the float thing this weekend?
That's next weekend.
What are you doing this weekend?
This weekend is the show, the live concert.
Oh.
Yep, live concert. I think it's called. I don't have a flyer handy. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it's called the Late Night Tip Tour, isn't it right, Brandon? I know that's your podcast name, but I'm not sure exactly what the name of the concert itself is. What? Say again?
What kind of music?
Oh, a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of rap, R&B, a little bit of stuff, a little bit of everything. They do some different things. It's going to be fun. It's got a bunch of different artists, and I'm going to be doing some interviewing and such, and recording of the event, doing the review like I normally do.
Cool.
Interesting. Dominic coming through with the crazy ones. What is this? No, he said, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'll be. I don't know if I don't. I doubt I'll be on stage, but I'll bring my harmonica just in case. Yo,
You got an accordion to go with that?
I'll bring some spoons. You know,
Clackers.
pliers. I don't know about that.
No, clackers.
Oh, clackers. I thought you said pliers, and I saw you do like little
No, clackers.
mini crab hands.
No, clackers. Like they're wooden things that you clack.
I know what you're saying now. Yeah.
Google it.
I wouldn't like my kids, did they? Because
Hey, have you seen those? God, I don't know. I want to say they're kind of like hillbilly people, but I could be
those are my
totally wrong.
people.
Where they clack spoons, but they're like making music. It's pretty cool watching
Yeah,
people do that.
it's called spoons. I can take this. I know how to take two spoons, and I know how to make them clack.
Yeah, but these people make music with it, and they get with it,
All
man. It's
right,
like
now
crazy.
you're being condescending to me.
I am. I'm going to condescend on you.
If she has condescended, she has condescended from above down onto me. Listen, I know how to play the spoons. I don't know how to play a song of the spoons, but I could make it sound musical as much as I can with this harmonica. But we're not going to do that tonight. We're going to try to have a good rest of the week, though, guys. Friday night or above Friday. Today it's kind of funny. Side note: today I did a live stream just for a few minutes when I did a couple of dabs, and I was getting getting this show ready, and I said, "Hey, happy Friday." And for a minute, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's not Friday." So you all have a good Thursday night, and we'll see you on game night, 5:30 Central Time. If you want to win some prizes, want to get in on the fun on the game itself, let me know. We want to get somebody. We got to get a challenger to Mr. Timothy here, the champ. Timothy says Kim can get a taste of what you do by watching Waylon's broadcast when they were in studio.
I was just reading that.
Y'all are funny, Crystal. Oh, the show when they had everybody in studio. Yeah, the audio wasn't good, and I was hoping that I could get them back in before the show, but looks like we got 2 days left, so I don't know if we're gonna do anything tomorrow. But yeah, I didn't have the best audio. It wasn't great, so their show is gonna be a lot better than that, and I'm gonna be taking some better equipment. Hopefully, it'll be better anyway. So, have a good weekend. Peace out. You want to say anything, Kim?
No, have a good weekend, everybody. God bless you.
Remember, everybody on the planet has to eat. Peace.